Look at the basketball pairing of boys and girls in Asa Island. Sub-regional games are set for Monday and Tuesday. Girls on Monday, boys on Tuesday. Area champions in Classes 1A, 6A host the sub-regional games. Class 7A area champs and runners-up advance straight to regional semifinals. In these pairings, the home team of area champion is listed first. Boys sub-regional pairings. Class 1A, Southwest Regional, McIntosh vs. Marengo, Keith vs. Maplesville, Southern Choctaw vs. Millry, Autaugaville vs. RC Hatch, Southeast Regional, Pleasant Home vs. JF Shields of Brantley, Loachapoka vs. Woodland, JF Shields of Brantley vs. Florala, Talladega County Central vs. Central-Hayneville, Northwest Regional, Pickens County vs. Marion County, Belgreen vs. Covenant Christian, R.A. Hubbard, Meek vs. South Lamar, Covenant Christian, R.A. Hubbard vs. Phillips, Northeast Regional, Faith Christian, Raglan vs. Cornerstone at Shumiden Christian, Skyline vs. Oakwood Academy, Cornerstone at Shumiden Christian vs. Faith Christian Raglan, Decatur Heritage vs. Valley Head, Class 2A, Southwest Regional, St. Luke's vs. Highland Home vs. Francis Marion, Clark County vs. Orange Beach, Greene County vs. Calhoun, Southeast Regional, Geneva County vs. Arrington, Lannett vs. Vincent, G.W. Long vs. Abbeville, Central-Coosa vs. Lafayette, Northwest Regional, Red Bay vs. Addison, Tanner vs. Sheffield, Cold Springs vs. Aliceville, Mars Hill Bible vs. Hatton, Northeast Regional, Midfield vs. Southeastern, Spring Garden vs. North Sand Mountain, Cleveland vs. Westminster-Oak Mountain, Section vs. Sand Rock, Class 3A, Southwest Regional, Cottage Hill vs. T.R. Miller, Excel vs. Hale County, Hillcrest-Evergreen vs. Mobile Christian, Southside-Selma vs. Monroe County, Southeast Regional, Houston Academy, Wicksburg vs. New Brockton, Montgomery Academy vs. Reeltown, OPP vs. Houston Academy, Wicksburg, Dadeville vs. Montgomery Catholic, Northwest Regional, Winfield vs. Susan Moore, Danville vs. Clements, Brindley Mountain vs. Oakman, Lauderdale County vs. East Lawrence, Northeast Regional, Childersburg vs. Weaver, Hoax Bluff vs. Sylvania, Piedmont vs. Plainview vs. Geraldine, Class 4A, Southwest Regional, Escambia County, Williamson vs. Sumter Central, Holt vs. Indian Springs, Jackson vs. Escambia County, Williamson, Fultondale vs. Northside, Southeast Regional, Strawn vs. St. James, Lamp vs. Dallas County, BTW-Tuskegee vs. Dale County, Bibb County vs. BTW-Magnet, Northwest Regional, Anianta vs. Hamilton, Brooks vs. Central-Florence, Haleyville vs. Good Hope, Deschler vs. West Morgan, Northeast Regional, Handley vs. Jacksonville, Batawa, Dar vs. Priceville, Jacksonville, Batawa vs. Anniston, Westminster Christian vs. Madison County, Class 5A, Southwest Regional, Leffler vs. Faith Academy, UMS-Wright, Marbury vs. Central-Tuscaloosa, Faith Academy, UMS-Wright vs. BC Rain, Sipsa Valley vs. Elmore County, Southeast Regional, Carroll vs. Greenville, Brubaker Tech vs. Central Clay, Charles Henderson vs. Headland, Sylacauga vs. Pike Road, Northwest Regional, Winona vs. Corner, Russellville vs. May Jemison, Center Point vs. Fairfield, Lee-Huntsville vs. Lawrence County, Northeast Regional, Ramsey vs. Alexandria, Boaz vs. Fairview, Moody vs. Guntersville vs. Douglas, Class 6A, Southwest Regional, Park Crossing vs. Valley, Hillcrest-Tuscaloosa, Paul W. Bryant vs. McAdory, Eufaula vs. Lee-Montgomery, Hueytown vs. Hillcrest-Tuscaloosa, Paul W. Bryant, Southeast Regional, McGill-Toolen vs. Robertsdale, Benjamin Russell vs. Chilton County, Spanish Fort vs. Lount, Pelham vs. Stanhope Elmore, Northwest Regional, Pinson Valley vs. Hartselle, Scottsboro vs. Columbia, Coleman vs. Clay-Chalkville, Hazel Green vs. Buckhorn, Northeast Regional, Homewood vs. Jasper, Huffman vs. Springville, Minor vs. Mountain Brook, Oxford vs. Woodlawn, Class 7A, Southwest Regional, Baker vs. Murphy, Fairhope vs. Theodore, Southeast Regional, Enterprise vs. Auburn, Smith Station vs. Jeff Davis, Northwest Regional, Oak Mountain vs. Austin, James Clemens vs. Thompson, Northeast Regional, Spain Park vs. Sparkman, Huntsville vs. Vestavia Hills, Girls Sub-Regional Pairings, Class 1A, Southwest Regional, McIntosh vs. Southern Choctaw, Linden vs. Billingsley, Choctaw County vs. Millry, Autaugaville vs. University Charter, Southeast Regional, Florala vs. Georgiana, Red Level, Loachapoka vs. Wadley, Georgiana, Red Level vs. Pleasant Home, Talladega County Central vs. Barber County, Northwest Regional, South Lamar vs. Brilliant, Belgreen vs. Covenant Christian, R.A. Hubbard, Marion County vs. Holy Spirit Catholic, Covenant Christian, R.A. Hubbard vs. Hackleburg, Northeast Regional, Ragland vs. Cornerstone, Skyline vs. Lindsay Lane, Shumiden Christian vs. Jacksonville Christian, Decatur Heritage vs. Valley Head, Class 2A, Southwest Regional, St. Luke's vs. Leuven vs. Ranburne, Washington County vs. Orange Beach, Lannett vs. Calhoun, Southeast Regional, Cartonwood vs. Isabella vs. B.B. Cummer, G.W. Long vs. Abbeville, Vincent vs. Francis Marion, Northwest Regional, Sulligent vs. Winston County, Tanner vs. Mars Hill Bible, Addison vs. Aliceville, Lexington vs. Hatton, Northeast Regional, Midfield vs. Southeastern, Spring Garden vs. Locust Fork vs Westminster-Oak Mountain, Pisgah vs Sand Rock, Class 3A, Southwest Regional, Bayside Academy vs Flomaton, Thomasville vs Southside-Selma, T.R. Miller vs Cottage Hill, Greensboro vs Monroe County, Southeast Regional, Houston Academy vs Trinity vs Reeltown, Pike County vs Wicksburg, Dadeville vs Prattville Christian, Northwest Regional, Carbon Hill vs Holly Pond, Phil Campbell vs Elkmorn, Susan Moore vs Oakman, Lauderdale County vs Vinemorn, Northeast Regional, Childersburg vs Piedmont, Collinsville vs Plainview, Ohatchee vs Sylvania vs Geraldine, Class 4A, Southwest Regional, Vigor vs Sumter Central, Northside vs Jackson vs Williamson, Fultondale vs American Christian, Southeast Regional, Geneva vs BTW-Tuskegee, Lamp vs Dallas County, St. James vs Strawn, Bibb County vs Alabama Christian, Northwest Regional, Good Hope vs Haleyville, Brooks vs Rogers, Hamilton vs Arneanta, Deschler vs West Limestone, Northeast Regional, Handley vs Etowah, Cherokee County vs Anniston, New Hope vs St. John Paul II, Priceville vs Madison County, Class 5A, Southwest Regional, Leffler vs St. Paul, Marbury vs UMS-Wright vs BC Rain, Central-Tuscaloosa vs Elmore County, Southeast Regional, Headland vs Charles Henderson, Pike Road vs Sylacauga, Greenville vs Carroll, Talladega vs Brubaker Tech, Northwest Regional, Pleasant Grove vs Hayden, Lawrence County vs East Limestone, Center Point vs Winona, Lee-Huntsville vs West Point, Northeast Regional, Ramsey vs Alexandria, Sardis vs Fairview, Moody vs Carver, Birmingham, Guntersville vs Douglas, Class 6A, Southwest Regional, Park Crossing vs Opelika, Hillcrest-Tuscaloosa vs McAdory, Eufaula vs Carver, Montgomery, Hueytown vs Northridge, Southeast Regional, McGill-Toolen vs Baldwin County, Stanhope, Elmore vs Helena, Gulf Shores vs Lount, Pelham vs Wetumpka, Northwest Regional, Mortimer Jordan vs Muscle Shoals, Scottsboro vs Athens, Hartselle vs Clay-Chalkville, Hazel Green vs Fort Payne, Northeast Regional, Chelsea vs Jasper, Huffman vs Pell City, Minor vs Mountain Brook, Oxford vs Shades Valley, Class 7A, Southwest Regional, Davidson vs Daphne, Fairhope vs Theodore, Southeast Regional, Dothan vs Central Phoenix City, Auburn vs Prattville, Northwest Regional, Hoover vs Florence, Bob Jones vs Oak Mountain, Northeast Regional, Vestavia Hills vs Huntsville, Sparkman vs Hewitt Trussville. These pairings will be updated.